Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's meeting. We will call this meeting to order at 6 o'clock. We will have the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Corbin, will you lead us in that, please?
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic that stands one nation under God, indivisible, with justice for all.
All right. Thank you for that. Next, we will have roll call, please.
Mayor Hudson,
Here.
Vice Mayor Thomas,
Here.
Councilmember Hanson,
Here.
Councilmember Pride, here, Councilmember Busby.
Here.
Thank you.
All right. City Manager, any changes to the agenda?
There is one change. I'll be requesting that the council remove the Assistant Library Director job classification and salary schedule item. We'll continue that to another meeting.
Okay. Any other changes?
No.
Okay. All right. We'll make note of that. Next item will be some ceremonial matters. Our first proclamation for tonight will be for National Family Owned and Operated Business Day. This was a toss-up between the vice mayor and I as to who got to read this one, as both of us were family owned and operated businesses, but I won the coin toss. So family owned and operated business day. Whereas family owned and operated businesses are the backbone of American economy, representing the strength, perseverance, and entrepreneurial spirit that define our communities. And whereas the city of Willows is proud to be home to many family-owned enterprises that have served our residents and visitors with dedication, integrity, and passion across generations. And whereas family businesses not only provide essential goods, services, and jobs, but also enrich the social and cultural fabric of our community through long-lasting relationships, civic involvement, and social leadership. And whereas these businesses often pass on more than just ownership, they pass down values, traditions, and deep commitment to service and quality that have stood the test of time. And whereas it is fitting to recognize and celebrate the contributions of family-owned and operated businesses that continue to shape the identity and prosperity of Willows. And whereas the Willows Chamber of Commerce has been a steadfast supporter of local business owners, advocating for their success and honoring their vital role in the community. Now, therefore, be it resolved, I, Evan Hudson, Mayor of the City of Willows, and on behalf of the Willows City Council and the citizens of Willows, do hereby proclaim June 23rd, 2025 as National Family Owned and Operated Business Day in the City of Willows. I encourage all residents and visitors to support, celebrate, and express gratitude to the family-run businesses that continue to help our local economy and community thrive. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and official seal this 27th day of May 2025. And to receive this, Jamie Millen is here from the Chamber of Commerce.
This is kind of interesting. When I was asked to be here, which thank you very much for letting me know and inviting me, National Family Owned and Operated Business Day. What about the other 364 days of the year? And these people run these businesses. If you look around town, just down 99% of those buildings occupied by family. So I urge you, since we only have one day, on this day, please go out, support one of these businesses, or all of them, just to say hi. Thank you for being here. Purchase something? Maybe not. That's okay. But just going in and letting them know, we know who runs this business. And that's a very So maybe next year we'll have business week.
We could do a whole year, business
That's it.
year, all year
How
long.
about business week? I don't, but, you know, and if you look around, I mean, we have so many of them around. And I never thought about it until I started counting. So, yeah, it's quite interesting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up will be the proclamation National Forest Week presented by Councilmember Pride.
So whereas the Mendocino National Forest, headquartered in Willows, California, is a unique and cherished part of our national heritage, distinguished as the only national forest in California without a major paved road or highway crossing it, preserving its wild character and remote beauty. And whereas spanning more than 900,000 acres across the Intercoast Range, Mendocino National Forest provides critical habitat for wildlife, vital watersheds, and recreational opportunities that enrich the lives of residents and visitors alike. And whereas the forest contributes significantly to the local economy and quality of life in Willows and surrounding communities through tourism, sustainable resource use, wildfire management, and job creation. And whereas the dedicated professionals, volunteers, indigenous communities, and partners who care for the Mendocino National Forest exemplify a deep commitment to conservation, land restoration, and public engagement. And whereas National Forest Week is a time to celebrate the natural beauty and ecological importance of our public lands and to recognize the shared responsibility we all have in protecting these spaces for future generations. Now, therefore, be it resolved, I, Lori Pride, on behalf of the City of Willows and on behalf of the Willows City Council and the citizens of Willows, do hereby proclaim the week of June 9 through 15, 2025 as National Forest Week in Willows, California, and encourage all residents and visitors to explore, enjoy, and help protect the forest that defines so much of our region's identity and natural legacy. In witness whereof, Evan has set his hand and official seal this 27th day of May, 2025. And to receive this, I believe that we have Laura Leitner and Curtis. Come on over to the magic.
Okay,
spot.
magic spot.
Yes,
Good to meet you.
yeah, good to see you again. Yeah, come on over here. Stand in front of the front door. Drop the seat. Yep. Definitely. We'll be in the picture.
At least you know how to operate it. I don't. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for taking up a part of your evening to come and receive that. Our third and final ceremonial matter is a proclamation for World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, presented by Vice Mayor Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before I start, I am a senior these days, and so as a son who cared for his elderly parents, I find that we have to have an Abuse Awareness Day sad. But with that said, we will declare that. Whereas older adults are valued members of our society who deserve to live with dignity, respect, and security free from abuse, neglect, and exploitation. And whereas elder abuse is a global issue that affects individuals regardless of gender, race, culture, or socioeconomic status, and can take many forms, including physical, emotional, sexual, financial, as well as neglect and abandonment. Whereas it is estimated that millions of older adults experience abuse each year, yet it remains vastly underreported due to fear, isolation, and lack of awareness. And whereas Elder Abuse Awareness Day, observed annually on the 15th of June, provides an opportunity to promote awareness, education, and action against the mistreatment of older people in every community. Whereas recognizing and preventing elder abuse is shared responsibility that calls upon individuals, professionals, organizations, and government entities to work together to ensure safety and well-being of all older adults. And whereas the color purple symbolizes the dignity and respect and is worn worldwide on this day to honor elder abuse victims and survivors and to demonstrate a commitment to protecting the rights of our aging population. Now therefore it be resolved, I, Richard Thomas, on behalf of the mayor and the city council of the city of Willows and the citizens of Willows, do hereby proclaim June 15th, 2025 as Elder Abuse Awareness Day and encourage all citizens to learn the signs of elder abuse, support preventative programs, and join in the effort to build a safe and caring community for all older adults. I believe we have Amber Arnold here to receive this. And cool. Yes. Okay. I'll let you, when I can retreat to my spot.
Oh, and
This way we can hide them.
Yeah. Volunteer fire department like charge me if I get. Thought we could use the extra light in here.
Thank you for allowing us to come before you. I'm Amber Arnold and a program manager too for the Glenn County Health and Human Services Agency, Child Welfare and Adult Protective Services. I have with me our supervisor for Adult Protective Services, Amy Myers Doyle, and one of our two social workers in the Adult Protective Services program, Shannon McLean. So we just wanted to come before you. We appreciate the partnership. Harleen has been great. I think this is the third we've done this year. So I appreciate having the opportunity to come before you and bring awareness to days like this. As you mentioned, incredibly sad, but I think it's so necessary and appropriate to be able to share awareness as well as the good things that come from this. Our team has been integral in bringing the Senior Expo to Glenn County. And so the second, you want to speak a little bit about that or?
Yeah, Amy Doyle for allowing us today. So in honor of the World Overdose Awareness Day, we are observing two events. We do have our second annual Glenn County Senior Expo, June 18th, Wednesday at the fairground, 10 to 2. There are flyers on the back table. And then also the state of California observing World Overdose Awareness Day on June 5th. It is a virtual event or also an event at the Department of Headquarters. We do have flyers and we do have some information just about the adult. So if I may quick, as a protective services, our role in investigate how for neglect, and then our responsibility. And that's an offer of services, the part, and opportunity of the adults that we work with. They have the right to become healthy as well, but as adults, they also have the right to autonomy and determination about how they want to engage with us or receive support.
Perfect. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
We just
Thank
want you
you.
to put faces with the names and know how to report should you have need. And then everything is on the county website.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
for your
Perfect.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for those that showed up to receive the proclamations. Next up, we will have a public comment and consent calendar forum. All matters on the consent calendar, excuse me, are considered routine and are approved by one motion and vote unless council members or the manager first request that a matter to be removed for separate discussion and action. Individuals wishing to address the city council concerning consent calendar items or regarding matters that are not already on the agenda are invited to make oral comments up to 3 minutes at this time. Please address your comments to the mayor and council members and not to staff or the audience. By state law, the council is not permitted to undertake any action or discussion on any item not appearing on the posted agenda. If you have any documentation that you would like to be distributed to the city council, please give it to the city clerk. All right. At this point, I will give it to the pleasure of the council. So if they have any items they wish to discuss in further detail.
Let's hear from public comment. if we
Oh,
have
I'm
any.
sorry. I'm really good at almost skipping over that part. Is there any public comment on anything that's not on the agenda item? Yes. If you'll please state your name for the recording.
My name is Keith Corum. It's been a while since I've been here. I am wanting to know what the status of Green Street is between Butte and Lassen. I've been working 10 years to get that street redone. And when they did the electronic pavement survey a number of years ago, I found out it was so bad, it didn't even get on the list. So that's been part of the delay. And I would appreciate, and I know all the residents over in that area of our community would appreciate getting that street redone. As you know, part of it belongs to the county and part of it belongs to the city. When I was a supervisor, I was working and going in between because one would tell me they won't work with me and then the other would say they won't work with me. So at some point, that street has to get on the list. So I'm just asking for an update.
Okay. That's something we can't give an update on right now, but we'll set it for advisement. and have the
Well,
city
I
manager-
haven't been here for a long time about that, and I think I need to come regularly because the squeaky wheel gets the oil eventually.
Fair enough. Thank you. Is there any other public comment on anything not on the agenda item tonight? Okay, moving on. I will give it to the council.
I would move for approval of the consent calendar item 6A, B, C, D, F, and G.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question first.
Okay,
Thank you. In reference to item 6C, the sale of city-owned property. It lists 3 properties, obviously the 2 houses here on Lassen Street. Is that third property still the lot on the corner of Yolo and Sycamore? That small lot?
That's correct.
So I know there were some questions regarding that lot, may or may not be eligible for sale. Have those been addressed? I mean, I don't realize that's not the topic tonight, but I just want-
Well, we anticipated that the full title report would, reveal if there were any of those concerns, and that if that
Okay.
was the case, then it would come back to the council for an adjustment.
Very good. No, thank you. I just wanted to clarify if that third property was in fact that lot. So that answers.
We
my
just
question.
haven't figured out yet the history, and we need to do that
Very good.
now. Yeah.
Thank you, Marty. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No, thank you.
thank you. We do have a motion on the floor.
I'll
Is there-
second that motion.
Okay, any further discussion by the council? I'm actually gonna ask that we pull item 6C, sale of city-owned property, title and appraisal services report for further discussion. From that, and then make a motion to amend the current motion.
That would be up to the motion.
So I would amend my motion to approve consent calendar items 6A, B, D, F, and G, and move item 6C for further discussion.
I'll second that motion.
Any further comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passed 5-0. Okay. So regarding item 6C, this is just kind of my last attempt. I had said last time that I wasn't opposed to selling the city rental houses. They are not, they're technically what I would call an asset. They're making the city a little bit of money, not a lot. And I know we're not in the real estate business, but I do find it hard to let go of property that is paying for itself at this point to settle a potential debt that we may be having later on with the long-term gains that we could receive from those properties in 15 to 20 years down the road. So I bring that before the council as my last final plea as I was the only one, I believe, last time. So,
And Mayor, and for the whole council, just for your edification, to sell any city property, there is procedures that need to be followed. This is not the last time that this item will be before you for discussion. The particular item before you is just, as city manager indicated earlier, for approval to get appraisals performed. Any actual sale will be presented to you at a later date. There'll be opportunity to discuss and debate the whys and wherefores and the prudence of any actual sales. This is just a one step in many towards.
right. And I understand that. My thing is if nobody else wants to sell the rental houses as well, then it'd be money spent doing that process and discovering, okay, we actually don't want to do that. So if it's a chance for us to say, hey, maybe not this parcel, but we have, I believe, 3 other parcels that we had discussed that were empty lots, or in one of those instead, I
None
figured
none
now
of
would be
those
the
were-
better.
Nothing other than these 3 particular properties were approved to go to the next level by the council on a 4-1 vote, as you know.
Okay.
There weren't any other properties involved at this time. We can certainly look at other ones, but these
Okay.
were the ones that seemed to have the highest and best use readily available to the city.
So I will leave that there. That's where I was at with that. The sale of those properties. I think that they're actually paying for themselves at this point. And I believe that our money situation ended up being a little bit better financially than we had initially anticipated. So I'll leave that up for council comment.
Mr. Mayor, I would have moved to approve consent calendar item C as presented.
Okay. I have a first. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor, second the motion.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, Evan, I understand exactly where we're going. That's not the topic this evening, but I look forward to that discussion because I look forward to that discussion as well. So down the
Okay.
road, but as far as the item before us as our as council advised, this is step number 1. So that's all I had, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to just follow that up. I'm with you. I think that there are some knock-on effects to being able to just go out and get these appraisals specifically to insurance and like, hey, are there gaps to what we're insured to what they're appraised value to and everything like that. We can always go back and say, hey, not this time kind of thing. But I think getting values on them, I think it's money well spent just in the grand scheme of things.
Okay. Do I have to ask for public comment since we pulled the item?
It is now on the regular agenda essentially. So yes, you need to invite public.
Any public comment on item 6C? Okay. Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passed 5-0. Perfect. Next up is discussion and action calendar. All matters in this section of the agenda are discussed and will be acted on individually. Individuals wishing to address the council concerning any of these items are invited to make oral comments for up to 3 minutes as each agenda item is reviewed and discussed by council. Please direct your comments to the mayor and council members and not to staff or the audience. When the mayor calls for the public comment, please raise your hand to be acknowledged. While not required, the city requests that you please state your name clearly for the audio recording. By state law, the city council is not permitted to undertake any action or discussion on any item not appearing on the posted agenda. If you have any documentation and you'd like distributed to the city council, please hand it to the city clerk and she'll distribute it. All right, our next item will be item 7A, Masters Gallery Foods Community Development Block Grant Over-the-Counter Loan. City Manager Brown, pass it to you.
Thank you very much. The item that is before you is a request for an adoption of a resolution authorizing me, the city manager, to pursue a CDBG over-the-counter program income only application in order to offer a CDBG OTC loan to Masters Gallery Foods once the current loan by Rumiano Cheese has been paid off. That's the recommendation. And so for a little more background, Rumiano Cheese here in town has been actively in negotiations for some time with Masters Gallery Food. I was going to say it the wrong way, which the Masters Gallery Food family is here today, sitting in the audience. So they've been working on that. They're in the sort of, I think, final days of finishing those negotiations and moving forward with that purchase. One of the things that they were particularly interested in is the over-the-counter loan that Rumiano Cheese received, I believe, in 2019, or I think it was 2019, for just under $2 million. And the initial conversation was the idea of if Rumiano Cheese pays off the loan, it becomes what we call program income. The city, along with the approval of HCD, the operative word here is the approval of HCD, could possibly reloan those monies back to Masters Gallery Foods, and they would be able to continue making improvements and presumably expansion to the facility. In the 11:59th hour, after this was already published, some other opportunities came to light, and so there might be some other change to this recommendation, but if not, I'd like to move forward anyways, because there was a discussion of the possibility of taking over the loan from Rumiano, and it would be a simple transfer. I have not had a chance to talk to anybody over the 3-day weekend about whether or not that's still in play, but my recommendation would be to, assuming the council's amenable to reinvesting these monies back into the community and back into this potential new business, to approve the recommendation as is, to allow for Masters Gallery Food to go through the loan process with the city and HCD. And if for some reason something changes, then we'll do something different. But I can't change the recommendation too much, and I also didn't want to pull the item either. So I just wanted you to know that there's this other possibility in the background also. So that might change things a little bit, but I think it's a great opportunity for the city. I do want to just say that I'm really excited about this reinvestment into the community and possible expansion, and I think it'll be just really fabulous for the city of Willows. So, and we also didn't have any other program income plans for those funds as they get paid back by Rumiano. So that's the staff recommendation for this evening. Like I said, the Masters Gallery Food family is all here. Not all of them, I'm sure there's more, but and if you'd like them to speak and say anything to the council about the project and the effort moving forward, I'm sure someone would be willing to do that here. Sorry, I didn't have everybody's name remembered, so I was like, I'm just going to call you the Masters.
Address.
Yeah. Yes.
Hello, Mayor and council members. I'm Jeff Gentine, President and CEO of Masters Gallery Foods. And yes, if all goes according to plan, sometime tomorrow, we will be the new owners of the Rumiano facilities here in Willows, which is exciting. Yeah. We are very similar to them. We're just on a larger scale. We are cheese converters. We don't make cheese. We package it and distribute it around the country. We're based in Plymouth, Wisconsin. We have 2 facilities there, about 600,000 square feet of facilities. This one here is 47,000 square feet, about the size we were in 1989 when we built our first plant. So this is our first expansion into the West. We're excited about that, and our intent is to grow that facility over time. First, we need to modernize what's there. Building is beautiful. The equipment needs a little TLC, some of the lines. Everything you do in the world of packaging is capital intensive. It's probably one of the main reasons that facility is for sale. In order to be competitive, you have to continually invest. It's hard to do anything for much under $5 million. Most lines would be somewhere around $10 million for modern, high-speed, automated packaging equipment. That's what the industry requires. So that's what we're here to do over the course of the next several years. We are very active in the communities in which we do business and where our employees live. I think you're going to get to know us quite quickly. We're very fond of giving back to our communities. It's just something we believe in, and you'll find out more about that as we go along. So
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you and welcome. Does the council have any questions regarding it?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for being here tonight, everybody. It's great to meet you. Rumiano Cheese has been a homegrown company, outstanding company, outstanding people. I know that so happy for John Rumiano when he finally realized the dream of the new processing facility here, and it was built for expansion. So Yeah, welcome to Willows. Glad to hear that a good company is coming in. You've got large shoes to fill. Rumiano's been a staple here,
Oh, yeah.
and just good people, great employer, like I said, homegrown. So welcome.
Mhm.
Yeah, really happy to see you here, and Rumiano's been an outstanding partner, and we look forward to having a great partnership with your firm as well. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions for?
What part of
Wisconsin?
Wisconsin do you come from?
Well, we're an hour north of Milwaukee, hour south of Green Bay, right near Lake Michigan.
Who do you root for football?
Not the Minnesota Vikings or the Chicago Bears or the Detroit Lions. Or sadly, the San Francisco 49ers or the Raiders. I know Patrick's a Raiders fan.
I thought maybe Green Bay.
It's the Green Bay Packers. You're darn right.
Everybody
We
in
are season ticket
Wisconsin
holders.
roots for the Green Bay
Yeah.
Packers.
And I like to appreciate everyone saying cheese before the photographs here. That was a nice touch. I don't know if that was planned. Something we do back home. I didn't know if it was as common here in California. But yeah, Rumiano's got a long history. We celebrated 50 years in business last year. They've got us beat by 52.
Yeah.
So, but we're hoping to carry on the family legacy for sure, being another family-held business.
We're excited to have you in town.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, at the grand opening, John was telling me, about the building was built for future expansion. He was showing me that aspect of it. So, but
Yep.
yeah, well, welcome to Willows. Glad you're here.
Thank you much.
Are you guys also taking over their Crescent City facility as well, or just
No,
the Willows?
It's
one?
another entity.
Oh, okay.
Also happens to be from Plymouth, Wisconsin.
Okay. Gotcha.
Which is the cheese capital of the world, right?
We
Now,
are.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, you did some research, look.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are the self-proclaimed cheese capital of the world.
Expanding to the
I
west
think about
coast.
15% of the cheese that is consumed in the nation gets packaged within the Plymouth area. There's several of us there. So at least no one can run any numbers to say otherwise. We can't think of another town that has that. So
Well, I have to say that when I heard that Rumiano had actually sold and weren't just doing an expansion or a partnership, my heart kind of dropped a little bit.
mhm.
And then when I found out that it was the cheese capital of the world people and a little bit about your company and the family based and the
Mhm.
community based, it's exciting. It's a kind of a weird transition when it's always been Rumiano cheese, but
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to getting to know all of you better, and welcome to Willows.
Yeah,
We're
thank you.
excited.
Great to be here.
We hope you'll have some local product for sale.
Well, we'll see about that. They
Yeah.
did operate a store, but I think that was in Crescent City. So
Yeah, and they had a little bit in a downtown store, but I know it was funny when you'd travel, you'd go to New York and you could find Rumiano cheese,
Yeah.
so it became the game,
Yeah.
find the cheese wherever you go.
the other company is going to continue to market product under Rumiano.
Yeah.
And we'll continue to pack it right here.
Excellent.
Cool.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Perfect. Okay.
Welcome
Thank you.
and congrats.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And thank you
you.
for coming tonight.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
thank you.
awesome.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Perfect. All right. At this point, I will leave it up to the pledge. Well, is there any other public comment? No? Okay. Pleasure of the council.
Mr. Mayor, move that the resolution titled, "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Willows authorizing the city manager to pursue a community development block grant, also known as CDBG, over the counter, also known as OTC, program income only loan application to offer a CDBG OTC loan to Masters Gallery Foods once the current Rumiano Cheese CDBG OTC loan has been paid off, be adopted."
Second.
Any further discussion?
Just one question to staff. Just out of curiosity, the terms of the CDBG loan, is there an early payoff fee or anything like that that's buried in that contract?
We've already done the calculation, working with a third party, 3Core out of Chico, that has been managing that loan for us. And we do have a payoff amount and then a, day by day interest rate each day you go over that payoff date.
Okay.
And so far, we haven't been asked to, from Rumiano Cheese to give them those numbers, but I'm assuming if they're going to move forward, that's going to happen soon.
Understood. That's it. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion passed 5-0. Perfect. Well, thank you guys for coming.
Yep.
Thank you.
And,
Good to meet you. Good luck.
next item will be item 7B. Temporary moratorium on future applications for mobile food trucks. And this one will be presented by Joe.
Good evening, council. Joe Bencourt, Community Development Services. So yeah, this item's being brought forward as requested by Councilmember Pride on February 25th, 2025, with the intention to provide time for the city to update the Willows Municipal Code, specifically related to Chapter 18 and how we define mobile food trucks and determine appropriate zoning districts for their operation. The ordinance was reviewed by the Planning Commission at its May 6th, 2025 meeting, where a resolution was approved recommending council adoption of the ordinance, with the modification adding language to sunset the moratorium upon adoption of the revised Chapter 18 or after 1 year, whichever occurs first. So basically a total length of 1 original year, but if we get done with our municipal code update earlier, that would end the moratorium at that point.
Okay.
Mobile food trucks have previously operated with a conditional use permit in central and general commercial districts. Only the central commercial zoning section specifically references the outside sales or transient mobile uses. The code update is expected to address inconsistencies and provide clear guidance on definitions, allowable location, and operational standards for mobile food vendors. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Pleasure of the council. Any questions?
Mr. Bettencourt, has there been any interest or any expected applications for mobile food trucks on the horizon?
I don't believe I have heard of any come through, and definitely nothing through our online portal at this point.
We did have an inquiry at the counter that I took. Gives it right, required my Spanish speaking skills. And I did say that this was coming forward fairly soon, and it would be for the next, probably, if approved at council, it'd be for the next year probably. So there was one. But that's, I mean, that was as far as the conversation got.
And this does not affect our current 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
No.
Nope. This would only be new applications coming
Sorry.
forward. Oh, no, you're good. So it would not affect the existing 3 operations. The moratorium would not affect them whatsoever. Correct.
And as I understand it, the Councilmember Pride's comments were because of the municipal code and the current laws are in conflict, and it creates difficulty in
If-
weighing the two.
Could I?
Please continue.
Thank you.
I'll cede my spot.
Well, the reason that I brought up the thought of a moratorium was watching the process with the latest one that we permitted through a conditional use permit, which was Tacos Ocampo. It took 5 months. And literally during that period of time, I was coming to all the planning commission meetings. This was part of me being on the council. And we had a new planner at the time. They're no longer our planning firm. We had another taco truck or food truck at the same time wanting to go out on Wood Street. And because we have no code, we have no definitions for a food truck. We have no clear definitions for a mobile business. We have no definitions that serve this entity whatsoever. The planner at the time was actually calling the food truck that wanted to go on Wood Street a restaurant or a catering shop so that they could go out there with a conditional use permit. But they were also then defining a food truck for the Ocampos as a mobile business requiring a conditional use permit in the central commercial. If you defined them both as restaurants, you wouldn't need a conditional use permit downtown. It would have been a permitted use. So we were finding this absence of any clear code was causing people to just make things up as they went, creating clear inconsistencies. The Planning Commission was struggling to even try and understand what to approve when there was conflicting information. There was no clear code. It did the Ocampos a disservice by taking them 5 months and several tries to get through the process. So when I suggested a moratorium, it was not to kill business. And actually, I find it funny that that's been said by several people, and yet none of those people have ever come to me and asked me why I suggested a moratorium. It's been very clear through all of this that it was my idea. And I've done it to make it better for business, to make it cleaner for business, to make the process serve the business better. I don't want to put another food truck through what the Ocampos had to go through to get their business up and running. So I think giving it a pause. I think if there's a few food trucks that come in the interim, that can help us further define the code and define the demand. But we're getting close to doing that. I think we've looked at other communities, Corning being one, that had a large problem with food trucks that were not being regulated because they didn't have code. And so there's other cities that have food trucks. We're looking out to them for code so we can start from something. I think the other unique aspect of the 3 food trucks that we have in town, and we've chosen to call them a mobile business for lack of anything better, is all 3 of those food trucks own the parcel of ground that they are on. So they don't use their food truck as a true mobile business where they drive around and go to different places. They might do that on certain occasions for events, but they literally drive from their commissary. The commissary is that place where they're approved to prep their food and store their food. That's part of their health permit. So they drive from their commissary to the lot that they own. They park there all day, do business, and then they drive home to their commissary. In my mind, that's not a mobile business. But we don't have a definition for a food truck that parks on a lot that they own. Now, when they park on a lot that they own, they don't have to have a restroom. They can have a portable toilet because they're not a restaurant. They're a food truck parking on a parcel. So we've just gotten ourselves in a situation that we could let it continue and go unchecked, or we could call a brief pause and say, let's think about what we want our food truck business climate to look like so that it works well for the food truck operators and works well for the citizens of the community, for people who live in close proximity to those that have new issues, happening around them like any business. So that was the reason that I brought it up. And if anyone out there has any other questions on it, I will buy you a cup of coffee and chat about it. Thank you.
Okay,
I ceded my time. She answered all questions.
perfect.
Just have to ask.
Thank you, Lori. That was actually very informative. Any further questions?
Yeah, so for
Sure.
the provision is for if we update the Muni code, which is gonna be a bear, for 1 year. So let's say, for interest of argument, the Muni code doesn't get updated in a year. Can we set some sort of like Outlook reminder to, if we have these applications in queue, first of all, that they're answered in the date, like in some sort of priority based on date. And then, hey, we actually reach out to them. We don't wait for them to reach out to us. If that year does extend, like, hey, we're being proactive to go out and say, hey, folks, we're still working on it, kind of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, we would either through our business license process, if they came through that application, we'd have their information and be able to reach out to them and inform them of that. And basically, we do this with vendors as well. As we've got our list of vendors and their contact information, Excel spreadsheet or whatever better program we can make that work with. But basically, we could load a queue full of those businesses that are interested, let them know that we're going to reach out to them, and then have that set up for the, when this moratorium goes away, if not extended, to reach out to them and say, hey, here's the new code, or, you can come do your application if it doesn't get extended beyond a year at that point. So absolutely.
And I just would like to add, we are in the middle of updating the code. So it is going to happen. We're on a pause right now because of the city's budget. We agreed that we would have Harrison Associates do some prep for the special meeting the council's having on July 10th. And that meeting is with the Planning Commission to talk about high level, what direction you kind of want to go in terms of, pro-business, pro-investment. What does that look like? So we can get some initial feedback, and then they're going to take a deeper dive and start working on that. But they're not going to start on it until the new fiscal year because of our current budget. So it's definitely, and this is definitely a high priority because I agree with Councilmember Pride. Not only do we not have a good definition for food trucks, but we don't have one for push carts or people that sell food and, in their little cart, or put up an umbrella on the street corner in a residential neighborhood selling strawberry. We don't have anything for any of those things. So it makes it, you have no rules, it's hard to enforce, right? So we are really eager to get this resolved and get something the entire community and the council would like to see.
And just a note on that, the packet, we listed definitions of the push cart and how they're defined. each one of those through the Health and Safety Code or the California Government Code has special rules on how you can, what kind of code you can use in order to make them abide by certain things. You might not be able to restrict one, but you can restrict a mobile food truck versus a push cart person. So they're very specific, individual, not lumped into one mobile food transient business definition as we currently have.
Any further questions? Councilmember Hanson?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, Councilman, I have a couple of questions for Councilmember Pride. Lori, on February 25th, is indicated in the staff report. I remember when you requested placing this item on a future agenda. And then I believe at the next meeting, you walked back on that and had changed your mind. That's
No,
what I remember you saying. What did you say then?
that was on the planning commission. I made two recommendations at the February 25th meeting. One was that we consider decommissioning our planning commission, and the other was the food truck moratorium.
Right. I'm talking about the food truck moratorium.
When I came back at the next meeting, I backtracked on doing away with the planning commission, but I did
Not
not
the
change my
moratorium.
mind on the
Okay,
moratorium.
all right. Well, I'm absolutely opposed to moratorium on anything. You can insert business here, moratorium on, I don't know, no disrespect to my colleagues, but on realtors, on insurance companies, on recreational, large-scale recreational items, on title companies. No disrespect to my colleagues. I just, insert business here. Councilmember, or I'm former council member, former supervisor, current planning commissioner Keith Corum got it right and voted the right way, in my opinion, that night at the planning commission meeting. I thought I heard, Lori, that you had changed your mind on the moratorium. So I was extremely surprised when I saw that on the planning commission agenda. I'm opposed to any kind of a moratorium that sends out the exact wrong message, period. Like I said, I'm using absurdity to illustrate the absurd, and I believe it's just absurd to place a moratorium in our small community on any business. And we have 3 mobile food trucks. They're all fantastic family-owned operations. They're all successful. I frequent all of them. They're fully permitted, operating within the law. I know that's not the issue tonight. We know that. We're not being overrun with food trucks. There are 2 illegal food trucks operating that I've advised staff of, and with photos recently. That's a problem, right? But Ocampos, for example, have done a marvelous job with that lot, and going back a century, there's been nothing on that lot. That lot looks fantastic. The business is successful. It's busy. They produce outstanding food, as the other 2 trucks do as well. But they've formed that lot into just it's no longer just a weed patch that's empty and is mowed a couple of times a year. It's a viable business. It's our code's being rewritten. It's going to be rewritten. This is sending the wrong message. This council in years past has unfairly been targeted by a few individuals of being anti-business. That was never the case, ever. We're not anti-business, we're pro-business. But this, in my mind, is an anti-business message. I'm not saying you're anti-business, obviously, or anybody, or any of my colleagues are anti-business, but this sends the wrong message out. Moratorium, that's a strong word. We're not being overrun with businesses here wanting to open here. In the meantime, till the code is written, it's case by case basis. I am just opposed to a moratorium on anything, like I said, to be absurd, insert business here. I'm perplexed. Obviously, Christine Ocampo, our new planning commissioner, she had to recuse herself from this item because it was her business that sparked quite a bit of controversy. We got through that. I don't see a reason to place a moratorium. That's sending the wrong message. I understand your intent. I think your intent is good, but it's sending the wrong message from this council. And I think that would be walking this council back to several councils ago when we were labeled unfairly branded anti-business. I just think this is an anti-business message to put a moratorium on any business within the city of Willows. I'm just absolutely opposed to this, period, for those reasons. Nothing personal. I understand what your intent was, but I disagree. That's all I have to say. Thank you, Mr.
Okay. With that, we will open up to public comment regarding item 7B. Yes.
First of all, I have my hearing aids turned up as high as they will go, and I can hardly hear any of you except Matt. So get
still not talking-
closer.
I'm still not talking
You're
loud.
doing better tonight.
Okay, good. I was trying.
Just tonight, you passed a proclamation for National Family-Owned and Operated Business Day. It's unfortunate it wasn't a week or a month. As you know, I'm the lone person who voted against the moratorium. The first word when I read the moratorium idea, and thank you, Lori, for bringing it forward. I think that's important. We had a lot of good discussion the other night at the Planning Commission. The first word that came to my mind in moratorium is mortuary. Now, I looked up the definitions and the roots are totally different, so they aren't kin to each other. But it just had that kind of a negative effect on me. I've lived here for many years, not as long as Lori, and I've heard many councils. I've sat there myself saying, we want to grow, we want to grow. And I think having a moratorium is anti-growth. And as I recall in the Planning Commission, it was for, first of all, for 6 months, and then for a year if needed. Then there was the possibility of extensions for 2 years and 3 years. I really believe it sends the wrong message to anybody who wants to come to our community to establish a business. And I, as well as you know how that language will be developed for the codes for food trucks. Somebody's going to go onto somebody else's webpage, another city, another community, maybe a county, and they're going to cut and paste and maybe revise it to fit our community. It's not going to take 6 months. And you know as well as I do, if you give someone 6 months to do something, especially in government, they're going to ask for more time. And then when that time expires, they're probably going to ask for some more. I honestly believe this moratorium idea and the language for the codes could probably be put together within 2 to 3 months if the council chooses to do it that way. It needs to be fast tracked. I've been hearing talk about it for some time, ever since Ocampos came in. You're still talking about it. When's something going to be done other than stop any kind of growth of business in our community? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. With that, it'll now be council comment time. Any comments from the council?
time for me.
Okay. Councilmember Pride?
Well, I think people are going to think it's anti-business because of the lengthy discussion by Councilmember Hanson and Planning Commissioner Quorum about how anti-business it is. Again, that was never the intent. The intent was to streamline the process. Yep. And the more we say anti-business up here and in the microphone, the more it just plants that idea in people's minds. You know, my whole goal for the whole city of Willows is to get a good foundation, and our code does not have that. I don't know how many of you have been spending time reading our code. I do. I've got most of it in a binder. We're not following most of our code. We're woefully deficient on it. And it just begs the question, do we have code or not have code? It doesn't seem like anybody really wants it. Anything goes, any business, anywhere. I love business and I'm a fan of business, but we have planning for a reason. And Commissioner Quorum, you would know that better than anybody as a past planning commissioner. It's important that we have good planning guidelines, good direction. And if we need to take a little time to do it so that we do it right, we do it what's best for the community, we do it with community input, that's better than just winging it. until we eventually get something else done. The Ocampos ended up with a beautiful place. It took them 5 months. I don't know how much money they had to spend, but it was a huge disservice to them because we did not have good code or process. I don't want anyone else to have to go through that. The council's going to vote as the council will. I agree a moratorium can sound negative. It is not the intent. And, you know, the more we say that, the more people are just going to pick up on that and run with it because that's what we like to do in Willows. Nothing further.
Okay. You guys, anything further to add on this side?
Yeah, I think I've seen firsthand how death by 1,000 cuts the asterisks can get, right? And so I understand the concern, but I think we're playing perception versus reality here a little bit. The reality is it's broken. If the perception is it's broken for a little bit longer, we're back to reality. It's still broken. So let's just take the time to get it done right and not eat ourselves alive with lack of precedent into how we move forward with these things in the future.
Councilmember Hanson?
Mr. Mayor, thank you. I am not only expressing my opinions, I am expressing a number of constituents' opinions as well. So I don't retract anything I said. I believe it's an anti-business message. Moratorium is a strong word. I don't believe in putting a moratorium on any business in the city of Willows. I will not change my mind on that. I think this is bad business. You want to talk reality perception? I live in a real world, black and white. I'm not perceiving anything here. That's the way I see it, and not going to waver from that position. I think this is a poor choice. The code's being reworked, rewritten. It will get completed soon, hopefully. I know there have been some delays, but you know, the code hasn't been updated in, Marty, how long? How many decades?
I believe it's over 30 years old.
Right, well, at least 30.
About 35 years.
You know,
7, I think.
which is a problem. We can't, you know, we can't do that any longer. We need, you know, it's a living document, right? Just like the Constitution is a living document. Our code is a living document, and it's been a dead document for years. So it's been case by case. But putting a moratorium on any business, like I said, insert business here. Tonight it's food trucks. What will it be? I don't know, next week, next month, when someone has a problem, insert business here. I'm again illustrating, you know, I'm using absurdity to illustrate the absurd. That's my opinion, period. That's all I have. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
With that, I will call to the council for a motion.
Well, I have a question now.
Yes, Vice Mayor
And actually, it's
Thomas.
for you, Joe. With the latest application that we went through for the mobile food truck business, did that not create an opportunity to understand what our problems were? So a future applicant we would be able to better address that should we get an application tomorrow?
Yes and no on that. I think the definitions themselves are something that really do need to be defined better. When we look at transient, or that's why I included the health and safety code definitions, right? They're very clear on what this is. When I hear transient or mobile business, now I'm talking everything from a Cricket phone tent that pops up to a food truck to those kinds of things. So what we define as a mobile business, and I think the point Lori brought up too, is this, you know, not only do they own their lots, they're permanently developing. So we've got this kind of back and forth on what that is. And Lori also mentioned, you know, do we look at these as that was brought up by our previous planner, as a restaurant itself, because they are at a fixed location, but also mobile. So when we try to fit those into different zones, we kind of run into those problems. And I think with the Ocampos, what we ran into was just that problem. The real only definition, the only place this is described as a mobile business piece to it is Central Commercial District, which is in our downtown part of our city. So, you know, as the code goes, if you consider that definition of mobile being a place that has a permanently owned parcel that a mobile business comes to and leaves, then it's, you know, I guess could be considered clear enough for the planning commission to make that finding. But is that definition clear enough? Probably not. And that happened to the Ocampos to where It got denied, I believe, at the planning commission and then went to city council and then came back to planning commission again. So a lot of that time delay as well was um, the trying to not have good definitions and having to interpret those definitions between, 4 or 5 people that didn't come out the same on 2 different occasions. So that's a long, complicated answer, I guess, on that.
We'll have a long, complicated question.
All right.
So with the knowledge that we just learned with the Ocampo
Mhm.
transaction, and they're on their own parcel, so is it really mobile or not? But it does drive away at nighttime, so to me, that makes it a mobile food business.
The precedent that has been set and on the previous 2 has been that, yes, that would be the mobile portion of the business.
Could
Correct.
we, since we have a proposed ordinance to create a temporary moratorium, could we not do the same process and define what a mobile food truck is simply in a quick resolution? So we would eliminate that problem going forward and while we're waiting for the final
I-
update?
I would just like to, I mean, certainly we could do that, but I would like to offer that, through this process of giving it a definition and defining it and an iterative back and forth with the planners, the council and the planning commission may discover, maybe we don't want 100 mobile food trucks. Maybe we want to only cap it like we did with cannabis. Maybe we only want so many per geographic area. I mean, there's a lot of different things to look at that are more than just the definition if you're inclined, if these other things concern you. My other comment would just be, we had a conversation seems so long ago, in early times when we were first bringing this forward, that couldn't we do some section of the code and then get that done really fast and then come back and do the rest of it? And, the planners at the time were concerned that, if you do some sections, a lot of them touch other sections. And will you capture everything in the mobile food truck definition and everything that you want to capture for issuing licenses in the right section of the code? And will there be some other section later on that maybe we should have updated too, but we didn't? So the idea of updating the code comprehensively and together with all the different items that touch different sections was what the consultant, advocated for and strongly recommended, as did the city engineer, was in agreement with the consultants on that. So I think
Which I
there's
agree
more to
that as
consider.
well.
Sorry?
I agreed to that as well.
I think there's more to consider than just the definition
But-
is what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say.
And,
Yeah.
and land use and alignment with the general plan is also a big piece. It's a bigger comprehensive look on how we want to take our recently redone general plan and align our zoning municipal code with those ideas and where do we want to see mobile food trucks and right now it's central commercial. That's the only place that we can find any spot to do it. So there is obviously, like Marty stated, there's the definitions that create the muddy the water right now, and then there's the precedent that we set, but is that precedent where we want to be as a holistic approach to what we've discovered in the general plan? No.
When do we anticipate the Title 18 being complete?
When I first asked Harris and Associates if they could do this, if we started in the new fiscal year, they said it'd probably be about a year with their work schedule and all the other things. And of course, as I think you all know, this isn't going to be part of their regular planning. This is, we're going to be contracting with them separately for this, because otherwise they would blow the entire regular planning budget in the whole year and we wouldn't have them for anything else. So it's got to be contracted as sort of a separate task order that's expensive. The estimate was $60,000, if you recall. And they, like I said, they thought it would take from July, if we were going to not start until really go gangbusters in July after the initial joint meeting, it'd be about a year.
Thank you.
I do have one more question. So existing permits, we get the Muni code updated. One of them's outside of the new Muni code. How do we handle that?
Lawyer. No. The precedents would be set, but I'll let Andrew speak to that if you want to.
Grandfathered in.
Yeah, I would feel that.
They would essentially be grandfathered in is kind of the lay term, but they would be basically an pre-existing use.
Like a non-conforming use after the
Exactly.
code is updated.
So.
Thank you. That was it.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor,
You got
just
another?
one more.
Yes,
No,
Councilmember
thank you.
Hanson.
No, thank you, Matt. That was a question that I had. You know, that's good to hear. Just to caution my colleagues, just like the general plan's a living document, the city code's a living document, you're not going to be able to capture every possible scenario when this code is rewritten, and we know that, okay? Just want to put that out there, all right? You're not going to be able to capture every possible problem involving or situation involving a mobile food business, I guarantee you. As a guy who's written a lot of policy, they're all living documents and they all change, and the organization needs to stay on top of the policy. So just a caution, because we're having a new code written isn't going to resolve all of our problems. It's going to still come down on a case by case basis on these applications often. So just a word of advice. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. A lot of the questions, is there anybody else? Do I get a turn? Okay. A lot of the questions that I had started writing down were answered, so I appreciate that. I definitely do I understand Councilmember Pride's point of view on this, as well as Councilmember Hanson's. But I do have to state that moratorium sounds like a bad word. But I would say that in my industry and for my day job, it is a great word. When the governor put a moratorium on insurance companies, it saved a lot of people from losing their homes due to not having insurance or being forced on to higher premiums after many fire incidents, and gave them time to plan for that. It is a tactic that is well used for that purpose. It's designed for us to get a chance to breathe, to catch our breath, to make sure that we're doing the right thing, and offer the opportunity for everyone to be able to choose the correct path, or at least the best path. Not saying it's going to be 100% right, but it may be the best path. There'll still be some speed bumps with that. At the same time, I never want to say no to a new business. I will be the first to admit that I probably hit every food truck in Willows at some point in the week. Between my boys wanting to get there and eat, or me, they are well liked and well used. I do agree that I don't think it should take anybody 5 months of fighting to get their business going. So there's definitely is a flaw in the system. My biggest concern would be, the time to get the Muni code updated. I did like Rick's idea. That's kind of where my head was at too, was can we essentially, as Mr. Corn brought up, cookie cut the definitions and put them onto an ordinance or resolution, however it must be done, to get that process started. So at least we're in some sort of a compliance. It might not be, like I said, the best road, but it's at least narrowing us down to get closer to that goal line. With that, that's just me talking. I will go ahead and give it to my colleagues for a motion.
We'll make the motion, right? Okay, so I know we have to waive the first reading too. So I would move that the City of Willows. Do I just introduce first reading? Right, I
It's
don't
the
have
recommended action.
Yes.
So introduce the first reading by title only of the ordinance entitled an ordinance of the Willows City Council authorizing a temporary moratorium on new mobile food truck applications in the City of Willows, and waive the full reading of the ordinance.
Is there a second?
I'll
No
second.
Oh. Last minute second by Councilmember Busby. Any further discussion by the council?
Does that motion include direct staff to proceed with scheduling the ordinance for a second reading and adoption?
Supposed to, yeah.
Oh, let me amend that motion to direct staff, to add direct staff to proceed with scheduling the ordinance for a second reading and adoption.
So seconded.
Further discussion by the council? Okay, seeing no further discussion, this will be, is this roll? This is a roll call vote.
Recommend it.
Yeah, we'll do a roll call vote on this.
Councilmember Pride? Aye. Councilmember Buzzy?
Aye.
Councilmember Hanson?
Nay.
Mayor Hudson?
Just bringing it back for a second discussion again, correct?
The item will come back to the council one more time.
With that, I'd like to do a little bit more research into it, so I'd like it to come back to make a better decision. I'll say aye.
And Vice Mayor Thomas?
No.
Motion does not pass.
There's three
There's
affirmative
three
votes,
yeas.
so it passed.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. So
Motion passes
passed
3 to 2.
3 to 2. Okay. With that, I do need to jump back to item 7A, Masters Gallery Foods Community Development Block Grant. I do see that this is a resolution, and I believe those are supposed to be roll call votes.
They can be roll call votes. My recollection, and correct me, it was a unanimous vote.
Okay, so it doesn't matter. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we did that one right. I don't want any hiccups. So,
No, we're good.
okay, perfect. Okay, next item on the agenda is item 8A, Community Development Block Grant Program Income Application. Conduct a public hearing to the application submission phase of the Community Block Grant Program Income Only application. I will pass this over to Mr. Betancourt for further information.
Good evening again, council. So this is, again, a program income application. We kind of had some discussion on our previous item regarding Rumiano that's similar in nature. What's different is this application would allow the city to reallocate approximately 188,000 in CDBG program income toward completions of the ADA door upgrade project at City Hall. This project initially began under the CDBG CV2 funding, 2-3 funding cycles. However, due to cumulative effect of various programs, project development delays, including design, plan review, and contractor procurement, the project could not be completed prior to the federal expenditure deadline of March 31st. We did complete our Jensen Park project, but we're not able to finish our door project in time. Rather than allow the project to remain unfinished, staff are proposing to use available program income to complete the work. There's currently $330,000 in program income originated from repayments by the Rumiano Cheese loan as a part of the 2018 CDBG funded economic development agreement. This program income application would ensure funds and continue the progress on improving ADA access to the city hall and parking lot and delivering benefits to our residents, especially those with disabilities. With that, I'll take any questions.
Okay. Vice Mayor Thomas, we'll start with you. Any questions?
None.
Councilmember Pride,
No questions.
Councilmember Busby.
There are so many acronyms.
Sorry, I did not spell out.
Just to make sure, a previous project, we were talking about the Sycamore Park, and that there was a pool of money that we had to use by a certain amount of time to supplement some of those Sycamore Park shortfalls. Just making sure this is not that money.
That is not that. This is
Copy.
not that money.
Copy
Correct.
that.
Yes, very clear. Yeah.
Councilmember Hanson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. No, this is a no-brainer. We need to do this. That's all I had, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. And I have no further discussions at this time. I will open the public hearing at 7:14. Okay. As there's been adequate opportunity for the public to be heard, I close the hearing to further public comment at 7:15. Is there any further questions from the council
None, Mr. Mayor.
regarding this? Okay. at the conclusion of the hearing, this will be a roll call vote?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Need a motion first.
Mr. Mayor,
Oh, sorry.
Motion.
Mr. Mayor.
Is there,
I move,
would the council like to make a motion?
and Mr. Mayor, I move that the resolution entitled, a resolution approving an application for funding and the execution of a grant and agreement and any amendments thereto from the 2024 funding year of the state CDBG program be adopted.
Okay.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, this will be a roll call vote.
Councilmember Busby,
Aye.
Councilmember Hanson,
Aye.
Mayor Hudson,
Yes.
Councilmember Pride. Aye. And Vice Mayor Thomas.
Aye.
5-0 passes.
Okay. Sorry, I skipped a line while I was reading my cheat sheet over here, so I jumped the gun. Went straight to the roll call vote. With that, we will move on to item 9A, council correspondence. I did not receive any. And then item 9B, city council comments and reports. We will start with Councilmember Busby.
Nothing to report.
Councilmember Hanson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No, I'd like to thank Community Development Service Director Joe Bentoncourt and our fine Public Works team, every one of them, Natisha and all the guys, as well as fire department and all city staff for just putting on a fantastic Public Works Week celebration last Thursday at the city courtyard. It was a great event, well attended, and great hamburgers, and it was just a good meeting. It was good discussion. It was just real positive. So good job, Joe, to you and the team and Marty as well.
Appreciate that. Yep. And it's, they deserve it. They're a small team. They do a lot out there. So it was great to put on an event and get some good public participation and have everybody there and really have a nice, lighthearted, good time and come check out the courtyard. So that is.
No, it was great. It was great. It was just, what a difference a year makes. It was just a positive, real positive experience. And yeah, I'm very proud of our Public Works team. We have an outstanding crew. They do a terrific work. You hear me say that all the time and all of us as well. But I mean, it just, thank God we've got them and just, they keep up the great work. That's all I can say.
We had a 3,000% increase in attendance.
There you go.
That was
There you go. Yeah. It was a great event. It was positive. It was fun. It was a good time, so anyway, but, two meetings, I've been involved in two of my committee meetings since our last meeting. Regional Transit Committee and the Glenn County Transportation Commission. The meetings were on Thursday, May 15th. The Transit Committee, routine business, renew our radio advertising contract with Deer Creek Broadcasting and approve our short-range transit plan update. But more importantly, the Transportation Commission, we had some significant business. We adopted we had a low carbon transit operations program funding the amount of little over $76,000. We unanimously voted to authorize the use of that for free rides for veterans with a card through the transit service and seniors with a card through the transit service. Free rides beginning June 1 until that, and for the fiscal year, the 24-25. I'm sorry, 25-26, or until that money is gone. So beginning June 1, and to obtain the appropriate card, just to keep it simple for the driver, contact Glenn Transit office or online, and there's an application. It's not a difficult process. It's a very simple, streamlined process. Get a transit card, and any seniors or military service veterans can ride Glenn Ride for free, as long as this grant is in effect. So, secondly, we after two different presentations, we approved the Placer. It's spelled the same as Placer County, but it's Placer AI. So we have a 3-year contract. It's going to be in place for Placer AI for the use for City of Willow, City of Orland, and County of Glenn for any and all transportation related needs. So it's a great tool. It's amazing what this does. Thunderhill was the guinea pig at our presentation for tracking the vehicles coming in and going out, how long they stay, where they're coming from, where they're going, where they're stopping, how many are stopping at Walmart, how many are stopping for fuel, how many are stopping at restaurants. It's amazing, all based on tracking cell phones. There you go. So it's yeah, kind of like George Orwell, 1984, but it's as far as a transportation planning tool, it's fantastic, fantastic, and that'll be housed at Glenn County Planning Department and Community Development under Marty Thomas for use. So I know we'll get a lot of use out of that. You can track vehicle travel on any length of roadway within the city, within the county, as long as there's cell coverage. You know, some of the poorer cell areas and some of the mountainous areas, you know, that won't be the case, but the bulk of the county, absolutely. So what a tool, what a tool. So I look forward to the city of Willows utilizing that. It's very controlled. It'll be controlled through the Transportation Commission only for use. You know, it's very restricted for use regarding transit transportation issues. I mean, because you imagine what could happen if something like that got in the wrong, right? And, you know, the world is 80-20 or 70-30. So there you go. But I'm just really pleased to report that. So that's all I had, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Pride.
No report.
Vice Mayor Thomas.
I'd just like to echo Gary's comments about Public Works Week. The Rotary Club actually had its meeting there, and Joe made a nice presentation, and we had some great pictures and billboards by Caitlin. So everything was very nice out there, and it was good to see a number of people last year. We didn't have very many people.
Two.
And the other thing I want to make sure is to invite everybody to the town hall on Thursday at the Ark Christian Center at 5:30 for discussion about what's going on with our local hospital and its critical access designation and how that will affect us if they should lose that. And it puts our emergency room in jeopardy, as well as ambulance service and our general health and well-being as a community. So I would encourage all to attend. That's it.
Perfect. Thank you. My report is a little bit shorter. I missed our transit committee and Glenn Transportation Committee meetings. I had another appointment that was a must attend at that time. But I just wanted to speak out real quick on the proclamations. Those proclamations tonight are, I think, very close to a lot of our hearts. I know Councilmember Pride used to work for the National Forest. And four of us, I'm not quite sure about Councilmember Busby in his prior life before Willows, but four of us here are family-owned businesses and either were or still are operating in our community. And so definitely take that one to heart as well. And then, as Vice Mayor Thomas had also said, the World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. It's a sad thing that we need that. You know, having older parents and grandparents, it's an amazing thing that, you know, that's what we have to have in our society, but I'm glad it's there. I'm glad we're here to protect those who created the world before us and gave us the opportunities that we have now. So with that is all I have to report. City Manager's report, item 9C, or 10C, sorry.
Very quickly,
Thanks.
I also wrote down about the town hall meeting on Thursday night. I just want to echo what Vice Mayor Thomas said. This is really critical to this community. It's very important, and I really hope we're all hustling and pulling together to try to get as many people out and to get the message out, and talking about creative ways that we can get the attention of the federal government, because losing the city's emergency, room services would be really detrimental to the entire community on so many levels that I'm not going to tell you, you have to come Thursday night so you can hear about all the ways in which this will impact the community. But I am very concerned, as are many people in this community. So I hope to see you there at 5:30 on Thursday night. The other item is just a quick reminder, June 7th is Community Cleanup Day at the wastewater treatment plant from 8 to noon. And we don't have another council council meeting between now and then. So I just wanted, again, that's Saturday, June 7th from 8 to noon at the wastewater treatment plant. That's it for me.
All right. With that, we will be going into closed session. Item 10, closed session, 10A, conference with labor negotiators, 10B, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, and item 10C, liability claims. Before I go into closed session, is there any public comment on those three items? Okay, seeing none, we will go into closed session at 7:25.
You.
Okay, welcome back from closed session at 8:47. We'll resume regular session. I will pass it over to the city attorney for a report out.
Thank you, Mayor. The council met on 3 items in closed session. First was a conference with labor negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6. Agency designated representatives were Marty Brown, city manager, and Andrew Butt, city attorney. The employee organizations were confidential employees, UPEC, fire and general bargaining units, and management. And the report out as direction was given to staff. Second item was a conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9B, significant exposure to litigation, 1 case. A report out for that was direction given to staff. And the final item was a liability claim pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.95. Claimant was Steve Abel. Agency claimed against was the City of Willows. And the council voted unanimously to reject the claim.
Thank you for that. With that, we will close our regular session meeting at 8:48. It's not 10 o'clock.